Okay, testing, testing, testing. Can y'all hear me? Um, hey, how you
Yep, yep.
guys doing? This is Tyron Vital, Ty Data. We come to you. We got some nice little treat for you every Sunday. What's that? 6:30. Uh, that's Eastern time, and we have a brother here. He's giving out a class, and we doing some actual, some actual law and some real law. He's a very infantry brother, and these are some of the people. They have their own nations, and these are the people we should be trying to help, and these are some of the people that we should be trying to attach ourselves to because they've been holding down this land for a very long time, and so. As you guys know, that I've been experimenting with a lot of stuff, so I haven't been having time to do a lot of tribal information. But now I just broke in the door and I did it again. So we're gonna bring you with some raw tribal, authentic law information. Any type of questions you want to ask, those of you who's on the other channel, our new channel, the link is in the description box. And so we're gonna have a brother introduce himself, and we're about to get it in with some nice dialogue. I'm gonna go ahead and mute my mic and let the brother do his show. This is his show, not mine. And so shout out to everybody. Shout out to all the members and all the people out there that's trying to do the right thing. And so let's I guess let's get it in.
Peace, peace, peace. What's good, everybody? How's everybody doing? I am Ynga Kota Bay. Ynga is one of our old ancient titles from my era long past, but it's part of our culture, our heritage. It is the people who built the pyramids, so called, but definitely that's what that is. And that is, and today what we're doing is giving out essential Aborigine American studies, what I would like to call that, which it is an open forum for all of our people to get together, to unify, no matter what background you come from, to discuss who we are as Aborigine peoples of the land that we call America, upon the continent we call America. So that takes a lot of discussion, a lot of breaking things down, and we break things down on these classes. The goal is to show improve. That is the goal. The goal is to let's bring facts, truth to the forefront. Let's do it like that. So
Muted.
all questions.
Unmuted.
Okay, what's the what's the titles? Scar, Star Strike. We got Star Strike and who? And Reginald Green. Star Stripe and Reginald Green. What's going on? First in the building.
Muted.
In the building. What's good? What's good? What's good? Let's can make it there. On so I was saying, American Aborigine, which is americanaborigine.weebly.com. We're here to have discussion and to hold classes about who we are as Aborigine American people. Feel free to ask questions at any time. Get in how you fit in, like double dutch. It is moderated to a point, but we don't hold anything back. And not holding anything back requires proof. And, please bring proof of what anybody states, and we'll go ahead down the proof hole and see where it goes. Right? That's all we could do. So definitely I'm gonna bring some information to light, and if there's anything to contradict, please bring it up, or any comments or questions over what has been covered. And I usually ask that after the end of every topic before we change topics and recap it. If you would like anything that's being displayed, we have a chat, so those who want to log on, and if you could pass on the link, YouTube Live for you guys that's joining via YouTube, please log on to the American Aborigine class, which is the link. I think the link is posted, correct, Ty Data? The link is posted. So I think the link is posted on the chat
Unmuted.
somewhere there in the description box. So the link is in the description box if you would like to join in on the discussion. And we should probably break every like 10 minutes or so just to remind people that hey, you can join via this link. With that being said, yes, okay,
Muted.
started. I definitely want to give a shout out to Tribe Up the app. Tribe Up the app. That's Tribe Up
Unmuted.
App.
dot
Dot
app.
app.
Muted.
Tribe Up dot app. My apologies. Tribe Up dot app. That's where we at. We partnering with them. Tribe Up dot app is I recently logged on to check it out. It's a for us like Facebook, but for us, for Aboriginal people, for people who really want to express who we are, a forum for ourselves. That's done by our own people. So that's a fantastic way of communication and expressing ourselves at the same time, which is a good alternative to Facebook and things of that nature. So definitely tribeup.app. Get that, download that, and participate. Let's get real. Let's get organized. Let's get it together. So with that being said, we're going to dive in a little bit to catch some people up to speed. Some of this stuff people already know. Some of this stuff may be brand new to some people. So take it very quickly from the beginning and then progress and dive in as we go down. But if there's any questions over any part, please don't hesitate to ask. So with that being stated, I usually start off the thing that catches us up all the time are words. Words dominate our life. They dictate every action. And from the higher wisdoms, it has been stated that we have the power to manipulate the matter that's in the universe with the usage of words, or simply put, vibration. We are vibrational beings, and vibration is an action. That action is a thing in motion. We might call it life, however you want to call it. So this action of words that govern the action of our lives become all important. We use words to express ourselves. We use words in contracting, law that surrounds us. And all of these words dictate and govern our lives and actions. So it's important that we understand words, and to help us do that, etymology, etymology, helps us do that. So etymon becomes important, etymon, oops, etymon, thank you. This little word becomes very important. So you guys can join me. This is www.etymonline.com. You can bookmark it, and I will put this in the chat as well. It is an online etymology dictionary. It's not pristine, but it works in a pinch. It's good for people who never was used to it, and it's pretty good. It's, I would say, better than most dictionaries you may have actually that's in your house. Now, if you got the unabridged stuff and the good law stuff, then no, it's not as good as that, but it works in a pinch, and it tells a good story. You can follow and create a larger picture just from following the words. So, with that being stated, I'm dropping that real quick, that link in the chat box. So, etymon means, it's a noun meaning primitive word from Greek etymon or etymos, which means true, real, and actual. So, English being connotative and denotative. Connotative being likened to slang. And denotative would be the actual etymon, or the true, or the real, or the actual of what the word and the action of that word is going to yield. So when you say the word or write the word, it's going to yield a visceral and physical response. So it's going to be as an adverb, meaning truly or really. So it's doing its thing as a noun, and as an adverb, which is a word of action, or describing a word of action, describing an action that's happening now, or that's already happened, or that is about to happen. So pretty cool thing, etymon. With that being said, a lot of us may or may not have looked up certain words, quite possibly. A word that's commonly stated, just for example, is nice. How many people know what nice mean? I see we got some people on the line. Let's see, do we got any new folks? We got Ashley Mines. We have wireless caller 301. We have Indigenous. So, and we got Tyron Veda. What's going on, bro? Ty, that's what's happening. So, and we have Tisha or Nisi. What's going on, sister? How you feel? How you feel?
Unmuted.
I'm good.
Okay, we got who? Nonetheless in the chat room, and we also have N Jones. So, nonetheless and N
Muted.
in the chat room.
And give my love to them both.
Unmuted.
She says she love y'all both, and I think they may have heard you. Absolutely
Muted.
good. You might have to translate that. And
Unmuted.
for those who are joining in a different chat room, we got 2 chat rooms going just to explain to everybody. So I can't hear you, some of the people. So we're gonna do some translating and some relaying of messages. So again, don't hold back. If you got a question or you got a comment
Muted.
to the richness, please throw it out there. We need that. So who said that nice means
Unmuted.
nonetheless? Absolutely correct. It means stupid, simple-minded, and foolish. So
Muted.
say that a trillion times a day, and we have people say it to us, or we accept them saying it a trillion times a day. But it's detrimental because we walk around exactly the spell that they putting on us. Late 13th century means foolish, stupid, senseless. From Old French, nice, 12th century, going back a little further, careless, clumsy, weak, poor, needy, simple, stupid, silly, foolish, niceous, ignorant, unaware, literally not knowing. I'm just going to pause there and stop there because we could keep going on and on, but it's not cool. It's definitely not cool. Its original sense of the word is literally you putting that spell on them, so to speak, or they're putting it on you. So if you accept the term nice, it's going to happen to you, and if you say it, it's going to happen to you and whoever you say it to. So it's like 2 for the price of 1. And nice has a profound because we don't know our people are foolish. It's foolish to call yourself an adjective, first of all, when you're a noun. Adjectives describe, they're not who you are, so it's foolish to call oneself black, Negro, colored, without understanding what those terms mean. It's just foolish to accept any term you don't understand what it means. And I don't mean just because you feel it in your heart. No, you got to prove that. A lot of times we call ourselves things, and when we find out what it really means, we understand we've been played or we played ourselves, and we don't want to do that. So let's not do that. So nice meaning that our people walk around senseless. Our people are clumsy. We're weak as a people as a whole. We're poor as a people as a whole. We are dependent or needy as a people as a whole. We depend on everybody to do shit for us. Everything in our house, everything on our body, everything that we walk on, walk into is stuff you and I didn't create, didn't make with our own hands or our own people or with our own interests at heart. We did not do that. So hence dependent. The house we living in now, nobody built their own joint.
Hiya, Halito.
Alito was good. So we walk around completely unaware of who we are. And who we are is the American people, and we are on our homeland, our soil, our landmass, our planet, whatever people want to call, but definitely we here. We didn't go anywhere. We didn't get extinguished off the planet, and no one has proven that. Since ain't nobody proven that, we still walking around just brainwashed, we are doing that. So etymology helps us. So, being that
Unmuted.
have been called everything from Indians and the Aborigines and natives and all of this other stuff, How should we address ourselves when we dealing with these people, with colonizers and non-indigenous peoples? How do we deal with them? How do we just go about our day and be able to utilize our right to self-determination without being molested, encumbered, or impeded anytime we choose to exercise our right for the benefit of our people? Not for the destruction, but for the benefit. Like if you saw an abandoned building on your block and it was harboring maybe some not cool elements and you wanted to turn it into a health and wellness center, what is the problem with turning it into a place that people could come and enjoy, especially if you organize the whole block to fix it up and hook it up like that? Right? Didn't nobody want it. Now all of a sudden you fix it up, the bank want it, and people want to kick you out and take you to jail. Like is that how it go down? Like, is that how it go down? Like, for real? Yeah, go for it. With what? Neat. Well, it doesn't. But that is the thinking. That's the brainwashing.
Excuse me. Are you saying meek? M-E-E-K? Oh,
Yeah,
neat.
N-E-A-T.
Okay.
Neat. Yeah, I thought he said meat at first. M-E-A-T. I like meat. Like, copy that. I guess meat is nice, though. When you think about it, it's very stupid and senseless to eat damn animals. I mean, when you really think about it. Like, when you see a pig's backside, and you're like, man, I gotta have a piece of that. Cow looking delicious from over here. Like, I don't know about that. But anyway, neat. Well, that's just to, you see, yeah, definitely we got some extras going on. All right, Laurie, there you go, sister. Cool. But feel free to unmute yourself.
Muted.
Anything to add in? This is Double Dutch, but cool. So definitely, you were saying neat, right? Neat. And what gave you that idea that nice meant neat? Who gave it to you? Because you didn't come up with that by yourself. It was given. So who gave you that? Where did you learn that?
It was just a conclusion that the way we use it, the way we use the word nice,
nice and neat.
right.
Oh, maybe nice and neat.
Right, nice
right,
and
so
neat.
Anyway, nice definitely. I don't know if we got everybody.
Has nothing
but
to do.
Nice definitely meaning stupid, foolish, senseless. So nonetheless, or is it nonetheless? Nonetheless, keep wanting to say nevertheless for whatever reason, but I think it's nonetheless absolutely correct with that. It means simple-minded and foolish, and we've been brainwashed with this nice word, just in part, just one of many billions of words we've been brainwashed with, but this one is a constant reoccurring theme throughout society. Go to any store and pay attention what they tell you when you leave the counter.
Unmuted.
You'd be like, whoa, check that out. The original copper Empress.
Greetings, Empress. Welcome.
Greetings, Empress. Original copper Empress. One more time with the last one. Hopert. Original copper Empress Hopert in the building. Any apologies?
Holbert, B-E-R-T, H-O-L-B-E-R-T.
Holbert.
Yes.
Thank you. My apologies if I didn't get it correct. Holbert. Aboriginal copper princess. Holbert. Got you. So, with that being stated, welcome. So, nice, meaning simple-minded and foolish. So, what else, what other words that we may think about? When I say colonization, now that we got off the nice stuff, let's get real. Colonization. Let's get some input on some of my new people that's on the line and some of the old people that's on the line. What is colonization? What does colonization mean? What's that, sister?
Family.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do a couple of them. We're going to do a few of them, and then we're going to move forward on the OAS and how this ties together. So there's a point to this. So Here we go down the rabbit hole. Put your seatbelts on. So colonization. What does colonization mean when somebody says the term colonization to you, or colonize, or decolonize? What does that mean? Colonize. What does colonization mean? Anybody got an idea? Don't look it up, but just look at like how you may have viewed it. Like colonization. What popped into your mind when somebody say colonization, or they came over here, colonizers came over here, or decolonized this space? Like, what does that mean to anybody? Yeah, something like that. Absolutely. That is the accepted terminology of colonization. Somebody came somewhere else and took over something. That is the accepted. That is part of the definition. But here's how it originated: colonization. Let's check it out. And what I want is interactivity. So I'm gonna pick somebody to go here and read this real quick. So we got Ynga Kota here. Who get to do it? Is it male, female? Who do we go with? Should be a woman. Okay. We're gonna have Laura E. How's that the correct pronunciation on that?
Yes.
Yes. Would you like to read that, please? And if you need me to blow it up larger, I could do so. Is that
No,
good
I'm
size?
good.
Or okay, good.
Act or process of colonizing, state of being a colony, 1758. Noun of action from colonize. In the U.S. history, the movement for assisted immigration of free blacks to Africa for the formation of colonies there. The American Colonization Society organized in December 1816. Hence, colonization, colonists, okay, one who favors colonization of
Okay.
emancipated slaves and free blacks to some other place. 1831.
Boom. Good reading. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. We get everybody involved here. So definitely. So I'm going to break that down. Colonization, it's a noun. And it's a funny noun because it's more like a verb than a noun, because it says an act or process of doing something. So I guess they consider that to be a thing, maybe, but maybe the thing, it might fit under a thing. It doesn't fit under a place or a person. So maybe it fits under the thing. So the thing of colonizing, the state of being a colony, and then it says 1758 from colonize, and then the killer part is this right here. You got to ask yourself, it says in U.S. history, it's making it clear. U.S. history, it states it right there. Y'all can see it highlighted. The movement for assisted immigration of free blacks. Free blacks. Don't say freed with a D on it, blacks, but F-R-E-E, blacks. Blacks that was never locked up. Because if you used to be locked up, then that'd be freed. You was locked up, I let you go, freed. I freed you. Freed the slaves. But it didn't even say slaves were free blacks. It just said the free blacks to Africa. Immigration of free blacks to Africa for the formation of colonies there. So that's the first thing. It never stated they brought any slaves from Africa to America. It doesn't state colonization is that. It's not that, because it's not that. Let this hang out, and then we're going to verify what this is saying. So we should be able to find it, because if it's in U.S. history, then I should be able to find it in U.S. history. A lot of people may not ever heard of this, but the assisted immigration of these so-called free blacks to Africa. these blacks. So we're going to identify what that term means, and then we're going to bring it on home to Africa for the formation of colonies there. And then they label to clarify after the colon, they're going to clarify this statement with this statement. The American Colonization Society organized in December 1816, period. So these people is the thing, this is the thing to support the noun that created this action or process or the state of being a colony off the concept of moving our Aboriginal peoples from here to Africa for the formation, as it states, of colonies there. Now that's interesting when we look at, let's see if that's true. So quickly we go into founding of Liberia, 1822, and we're going to go and see some of this U.S. history. The best place to get some U.S. history, I guess, is from the U.S. History People. So since the U.S. History People be like the Department of State, United States of America, Office of the Historian. So here we go. I'll put this in the chat if anybody want to dig into it deeper. We're skimming over some stuff, but we're gonna, so we could go ahead and really dive into it.
What's up, my brother? Kahoot.
Well, what's good, bro? How you feel?
Cool, man. Trying to get my brother Jonathan. We on the line, but we can't hear anything on his computer.
Yeah, he got to click on the phone. He probably have to click the phone. There's a little phone icon you got to click on.
You know how these PC computers are.
Copy that. So definitely the Office of the Historian.
Excuse me, Kota.
Yes.
If he can't hear and he's done the phone, then it's possible that his PC has the mic and the stuff together, so he can hit the mic and try that, because that's what I had to do when mine wasn't working just then.
Boom. Technical support right there. Appreciate that, sister.
Muted.
Office of the Historian, right? Office of the Historian, U.S. State Department. So they should know U.S. history, milestones from 1830 to 1860, founding of Liberia, 1847, and it states the founding of Liberia in the early 1800s was motivated by domestic policies of slavery and race in the United States, as well as by U.S. foreign policy interests, and we're going to get into that as well, who these U.S. foreign policy interests are. But anyway, in 1816, a group of white Americans founded, what did they found? Oh, snap. Look at that. American Colonization Society in 1816. So that lines up exactly with this. American Colonization Society, 1816. So now that we're comparing them side by side, we're seeing similar language right now. Right now, we're getting, the puzzle is fitting together. We got a connection. Same exact sentence almost. So 1816, to deal with this problem, now we're going to cross-reference this document with even another document that has the same language. And then you're going to see a bigger picture being painted. We're going to attempt to paint this real quick here. So to deal with the problem of the growing number of so-called free blacks, there go that term again, in the United States by resettling them in, there go this term again, it's Africa's so-called place. The resulting state of Liberia would become the second after Haiti, in parentheses, but Haiti was already so-called black. It was Aborigine. All us was ever in Haiti. Ain't nobody came from Africa. But anyway, second, not first. You would think a place in Africa, so-called, would be the first black republic. Thinking about it, right? I mean, if you black people in Africa and they the first people, don't you think they would be the first black everything? Just saying. But here we are, the second after Haiti. Haiti being part of America. Republic in the world at that time. So Here's the dude that sold out. Here's one of the sellouts. It is what it is. Joseph Jenkins Robert. I'm putting him on blast, one of the sellouts. He was the first president of Liberia. He agreed to help with and was a part of, just like Marcus Garvey and a couple other people, was a part of this whole thing. But also, Henry Clay was a part of it. Daniel Webster was a part of it. John Randolph was a part of it. And these were the best known members of ACS. Also, former President Thomas Jefferson. This guy publicly supported the organization goals. And also, President James Madison. Everybody is in on it. Presidents, nations, states, etc., colonists, the foreigners, right? They doing this thing. And these people, James Madison.
Oh, you talking on your
got
phone?
something in the chat. Said my father's name was Joseph Roberts. Copy that.
You go pick up your wife.
That's what's up. So I'm gonna have to mute some people just so I can get it in. Feel free to unmute yourself though. So definitely James Madison. So we got Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, John Randolph, Henry Clay, Daniel Webster, Joseph Jenkins Roberts. There was a billion jillion Roberts, people. Don't be all of them ain't yours. And they all ours at the same time, so they are sellouts. These are not the noble ancestors right here. We all got people that ain't right in our family, and they all are your ancestors if they ain't on the planet no more. So I'm just saying, so everybody ain't right, so let's accept that. So with that being stated, arrange public funding for the society. So these cats, President Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, arranged for public funding, meaning taxes, etc., finances that's coming from public sector to pay to have us removed to this place called Africa or someplace else. So to corroborate the story, we'll go with this era. And these are all contemporaries. So we're going to compare what's going on with the folly of colonization and we'll see where we're going with this. So the folly of colonization, 1894, here we are, 1894. Frederick Douglass comes out with this. We got this thing going down in the early 1800s and past that point, but this is where it starts at, and as we get into it, we'll see some things lining up. But just to show that everybody is on the same page, even King commented on it and stated that in the 1965 interview with Alex Haley, that we're not from Africa or no other imaginary state. And that's going to line up with the definition of an American, and then we're going to get into the rights and things that we have. But just to catch people up to speed lawfully where this information is at. So you could bring up the sources, authenticated sources, not from an author somewhere, but here's right from the government-owned website. Here's right from this website right here that the government printed right there, from the government printing office and all of that. So, you know, there it is. You don't have to guess about it. There's the law around it. That's what it states. Here's everything laid out. So we're laying it all out. And Douglass, as being a member of Congress, was dealing with a lot of things coming across the desk, his desk personally, and he was dealing with those issues. And he kicks it off. But now I come to another proposition held up as a solution of the rare problem. There's that thing. Solution of the rare problem, this daggone problem, to deal with the problem, right? So they could deal with it. I consider equally unworthy with the one just disposed of, the two belonging to the same low-bred family of ideas. It is the proposition, I'm sorry. It is the proposition to colonize the so-called colored people, and we'll address the term colored people, the so-called colored people of America in Africa or somewhere else. So here it is. He's stating the proposition to colonize the so-called colored people of America, Africa. Notice he didn't state to bring that to bring anybody from Africa to here, or to return somebody back to where they were stolen from or enslaved from. He didn't say it's the proposition to return the slaves that they stole from Africa back to their home. It didn't say that. And that wouldn't be a low-bred idea. That would be a noble thing to do, to return your people back to where they was taken from. I mean, that would be the greatest thing since cheesecake right there. Can you dig it? So he also say, happily the scheme will be defeated by both its impolicy and its impracticability. It's all nonsense to talk about the removal, and they even put a number on it, of 8 million of the American people from their homes in America to Africa. They still doing it to this day. So there it is, right there. He's saying it is corroborated. We got 3 pieces of hardcore evidence. One is the etymology of colonization, that these people kicked it off. Second one is the government's own admission right here on the website, Office of the Historian. We're going to keep going into it. So James Madison arranged public funding for the society. The motives, this is a messed up sentence, the motives for joining the society were vast, as a range of people from, check this out, abolitionists to slaveholders counted themselves members. So now the abolitionists and the slaveholders are playing the same game. They playing for the same team. One is the problem, the other one purports to be the solution. They're both the problem. In other words, they playing both sides to corral us in, pincer move, so to speak. Military tactics and all. But this is mental military tactics. So you got the abolitionists on one hand, free the slaves, so-called, and then you got the slaveholders on the other hand, lock their ass all up, make them do work. All at the same time, they both come out of this organization called the American Colonization Society, because it's all a ruse. Goes on in the next sentence to state, does anybody find this fascinating? I mean, y'all can feel free to chime in at any moment, anytime. You'd be like, damn, that's some wild stuff. I don't agree with that, or yes, you do, or whatever it is. Good to have feedback.
Yes. I find it very, very odd, stupid, etc. that history has played like that a couple of times, and it's repeating itself to whatever extent.
It is. I agree with that. And it's not really repeating itself as much as it is a long-term plan that has yet to be fully put into action. But they're going to do that in 2020, and we're going to catch everybody up to speed. But absolutely, I agree with that. With that being stated, it states, on the other hand, many abolitionists, both black and white, so everybody's in on the joke, ultimately to the notion that it was impossible for the races to integrate. Now, they're not talking about the races in America to integrate. No, no, no. Let's finish this sentence out. What races was impossible to integrate? And therefore did not support the idea, so here's the races that they want to integrate, of an African American, it's the first time the term is used, colony in Africa. And they still tagging and bagging our people today, slating them to go to Africa. Because all the African Americans truly believe they from Africa. So when 2020 census come around, it's the first time they're going to ask so-called black people where they're from. and you can see your parents and everybody you know right now signing off on "We from Africa," and they ain't never been there, don't even know what part, don't speak the lingo, none of that. Ain't never heard of no such place. So this plan is still going down. Colonization is still in America because 9 times out of 10, the people who own the land or purport to own the land, they don't own it. Purporting to own it, faking to own it, don't look like you. They all foreigners. They all called the banks and companies and corporations. And none of us own those. And if we did, we still incorporated under their system, so it's still they running it, no matter how you look at it. So it's still a foreign occupation. It goes on to state, still the ACS had powerful support and its colonization gained momentum, and it's still gaining momentum. You got a lot of scholars and all of school teachers that were African Americans and slavery and all of this other stuff. You got all of these little outreach programs, 501c3s, churches, all of that stuff promoting the idea. You got all of the media, social and otherwise, entertainment as a whole, doing the same thing. So it's everywhere. You can't get away from it. And still, they had that powerful support of those outlets, and the project gained momentum. In 1818, the society sent 2 representatives to West Africa to find a suitable location for the colony. But they were unable to persuade local tribal leaders. We'll get into this in another class. That's interesting. But to sell any territory. In 1820, 88 free black settlers. Free. Didn't say freed. Didn't say they were slaves, but free black settlers. And 3 society members sailed for Sierra Leone. Huh. Interesting. So first they hit Sierra Leone. Before they went to Sierra Leone, which was the first colony, there's been many colonies that was established with our people over there, not willingly either, taken by force as a result of long wars we've been having with them. But anyway, before departing, they signed a what? Constitution, requiring that an agent of the society, not the United States of America, but an agent of the colonization society, which is in bed with the same people, administered the settlement under U.S. laws. So yes, Libria, people call it Liberia, but it's actually called Libria, pronounced Libria, like liberty. Libria. They found shelter on Cherbourg Island off the west coast of Africa. But many died from malaria, so a lot of the people died because it was foreign. They was in a foreign place. So they had to get a whole bunch of new people. So to get these new people, and look at the dates, and we was fighting their asses, so look at the dates. So they got a plethora of new people that they was catching up as prisoners of war. So in 1821, a U.S. naval vessel, now look what's happened. It went from a private thing to now they got the military in on it, in particular the Navy. Look at this. A U.S. Navy vessel resumed the search for a place of permanent, for the black, so-called black, for the Aborigine peoples, I'm going to call it, keep it real, for our people, for our ancestors, for us that are here in America. They wanted to remove us from here. Those people who was uprising and fighting them, and, you know, they would catch us up as prisoners of war, and then we'd just rebel and fight against them some more. And, you know, we own our home soil, so they couldn't do nothing with us at home, so they had to thin our numbers out. So what better way than to send us over there for colonies over there? And why would ancient Africa need anybody over there to have colonies is beyond me. But anyway, a place of permanent settlement, permanent, and you see the term is called permanent. It wasn't temporary to be a citizen, but permanent settlement. It states permanent settlement. This is from Department of State. Permanent settlement in what is now Liberia. Once again, the local leaders resisted, didn't want it. American attempts to purchase land. So, no, we ain't selling you no land. Can't have no land because we already doing the land. And remember, the local leaders aren't necessarily who you might presume they are to be. So don't read too much into it, but we'll prove who the local so-called leaders, because France was colonizing over there, Germany was colonizing over there, so those local leaders. But at this time, the Navy officer in charge, Lieutenant Robert Stockton, coerced a local ruler to sell a strip of land to the society. So coerced. So here you got this guy with this naval ship and these Volkswagen-sized bullets, right, shelling down on their asses. Boom, boom. I mean, shaking the oceans up, right? Pummeling from afar. 10-mile range, no problem. Back in 18-something, yeah, they had them like that. They would rain down light cars on people, about 1,000 load. You know what I'm saying? Forget cannons. We got these new joints called howitzers and shit. 1821. We in the heyday. We got new and improved stuff. You know, we got 120 millimeter. We got far beyond that. We got, 6-inch rounds, all that good stuff. You know, we putting it down. So they throwing shells down range in a nonstop barrage, and then after barraging them a little bit, softening up as they call it, then they be like, okay, now you're gonna sell us some land. So coercion. So the Cherbourg Island group, after the coercion happened, this group now called the Cherbourg Island group, moved to this new location, and other blacks from the United States, not that was enslaved from Africa, brought there, joined them. So they had some unwilling so-called blacks on the ship, and then they went and got some more so-called blacks from the mainland in the islands and etc. The next sentence states how those people over there felt about us. It states, the local tribes continually attacked the new colony, continually attacked, relentlessly attacking. Now ask yourself a question. If you were stolen from home, and let's say 70, 80 years, or even 20 years after they stole you, they return you, is it the notion that your family is going to continuously attack you when you come home? Or are they going to receive you with open arms and be relieved that you made it back? Which one is it? I'm going to allow y'all to answer that real quick. Let's get some interactivity on that. What do you guys think? Come on, we got Ashley, Arthreen, we got Chief Noyamina, we got Dorier, we got FX, JD, J Freeway, TJ, we got Willie, what's good? And we got Proactive Communications. T, what's up, I see? We got Ty Data, and we got this chat joint. JD say open arms, Seafood, absolutely. Your people should greet you with open arms. They shouldn't be continuously attacking you, talking about, get out of here. You were stolen. We don't want you no more. Like, man, that ain't the way it go down. So that's another insight into the mindset of the people at the time, how they was viewing us, since they was continually attacking us. Continually. Like nonstop. So much so that in 1824, the settlers, black settlers, built fortifications for protection. In that same year, the settlement was named Libria, and its capital Monrovia, in honor of President James Monroe. Why? Because he had procured more U.S. government money, it couldn't be spelled out any clearer, for the damn project. So, if this ain't a statement of all statements, I don't know what is. That's like bottom and done right there. If we ain't getting that, slavery ain't never happened, but it was told to us in so much in reverse, and how the slavery actually happened, it becomes amazing. That's another class altogether, but here's the tip of that iceberg. This gives you a solid foundation and a place to study to get those truths. To back it up, following colonization also states the expense and hardships, to say nothing of the cruelty attending such a measure, would make success impossible. But they were still going on with it. The American people are wicked, but they are not fools. They will hardly be disposed to incur the expense, to say nothing of the injustice which this measure demands. Nevertheless, this colonizing scheme, unworthy as it is of American statesmanship and American honor, and though full of mischief to the colored people, so-called colored people, seems to have a strong hold on the public mind and at times has shown much life and vigor. Absolutely. Because we're living in it now and they was living in it back then. We seeing it.
Seafood.
Yes.
Seafood. That, that right in there, it reminds me also about like this wall, because they wanted the American people rather to pay for the 8 million people the 100 million people they wanted to send over there. They didn't want, they didn't want to pay for it. They wanted, just like Trump now, he wants the people to pay for it.
Absolutely. So when we gonna stop paying for it? When we gonna stop paying? I say when everybody stop working and stop chasing money, but that's a whole nother discussion. But that's why it's important to do us. That's why it's important, so we don't have to participate in that particular system if you don't want to. You got an option right there. It's just transition. It's cool. It reminds you exactly of that damn wall. And we paid for it then, and I guess they paying for it now because there's a lot of people who want to pay their taxes right now. Where you think the taxes, some of it may be going there, but most of it probably not. Just saying most of it going overseas. You probably just be like withholding stuff, so they owe everybody anyway. But anyway, he goes on to continue in the second paragraph. It is the proposition to colonize, he states it in plain English, the colored people of America and Africa, or somewhere else. Going back to the definition, colonization is one who favors colonization of emancipated slaves, separate, and free blacks, not freed blacks. So you don't say freed blacks. So it don't make sense to put slave and free blacks in the same sentence if all blacks are slaves. And who says the slaves were black people and who say black people are black people? I'm just saying. Don't state. Or Slavs, you can call them the Slavs. But the emancipated Slavs and the free Americans to some other place. How about that? 1831. So they was already doing it. 1831. HAP scheme will be defeated by both its impolicy and its impracticability. So they already going through it, but it's got to come to an end, and it's not sustainable is what he's saying. And they'll be happily that this ended. It is all nonsense to talk about the removal, here we go again, of 8 million of the American people from their homes in America to Africa. So he's saying it like 3 or 4 times, and we ain't got out, well, we ain't even got into the really deep and good into the second paragraph, like 4 lines into it. The expense and hardships, to say nothing of the cruelty, etc. Right? And he said, the bad thing about it as is of late, owing to persecution, begun to be advocated by colored men of acknowledged ability and learning. So by our own people of this acknowledged ability and learning, hence the HBCUs and all of that stuff, selling us out. Educators selling us out. All of them going by their agenda, selling us out. How many of us, our people, got our children or ourselves went to their schools? How many of our parents put us in their schools? Ask yourself. What school? Grammar school, kindergarten, first grade, high school, college. Who created that school? Who created the curriculum? Who built the bricks and built the building? Who the taxes go to? We got a question, says Ash Libra. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Please correct me on that if I'm not. It sounds like Ash Libra to me, but I'm going to say, I don't know how you want to flex it like that, so forgive me for that. But anyway, the question is, did the Moors help the colonizers bring some Africans to America? So that's a good question. And I'm going to answer the question is the Moors are responsible for the whole shit. So the Moors are the Romans. And I'm going to say that again. The Moors are the Romans. The Moors are the Spanish. The Moors are the Britons. The Moors are the Germans. The Moors are all of the European nations. The Moors are the Portuguese. The Moors are the Byzantines. The Moors are the so-called Russians. The Moors are those people, so-called. The Moors are those people. So the Moors did do it. They did raise an army of Caucasians, and they had their own people and consolidated Europe and others, well, all of Europe or Asia or Tartary, to consolidate them to invade America. That's so yes, they are solely responsible. They didn't bring no Africans over. No Africans. No such thing as Africa. We could look up the term Africa and the etymology of Africa, and Africa don't exist. Matter of fact, Africa one time was called Barbaria. Barbaria. And that was as recent as the 1800s. So there's a lot of stuff we got to learn, but definitely the Moors or the Romans or the Europeans as a whole, however you want to look at those people, are responsible, absolutely. But they didn't bring no Africans over. That they didn't do. I know the thing in Virginia, the 1619, and it says the African slaves and all of that. I get that. But what a lot of people don't get, that placard in the history, those people actually came from Haiti. They didn't actually come from Africa. The original was the Negritos, right? And then it changed from Negritos to Negras. And that was referring to the people of Haiti or New Hispaniola. And then they attempting to cover it up during the Melville or Herskovitz era with the whole dynamic we come from Africa thing. So to shift the history and to do the Reconstruction, and in the Reconstruction era, they shifted a lot of the documentation that's publicized and presented to the public as that dynamic that we come from Africa. But that's the cover up right there. So, but definitely the dark colored people are responsible for our demise in America. The dark colored people. They didn't bring other dark colored people in bondage. That doesn't make, no. The whole story didn't happen. That was made up by a guy by the name of Melville Herskovitz. Is exactly what I'm saying. But the Moors exactly, and one of the Moors who did it, instrumental, is Carlos Quinto. So when we look at the Inca Kings list, Inca King list, oops, we can see that history real quick. So the Inca Kings list is a painting. Some of you may have seen this painting but may not have understand it. But I'm going to break the painting down and you'll get to see. So here's who the Incas are. So we're going to briefly look at who the Incas are real quick. Let's go view this image, and it's got a little caption, and you can go to this is WordPress right here, WordPress. Portrait of an Inca nobleman and his sons, painted by native Andean painter Andres Sanchez Galic in 1599. So here's a depiction of the Americans in 1599. Now ask yourself, do these people look like slaves? You're going to be like, no, Kota, they don't look like slaves. And they ain't from Africa. They're not from Africa. It states the Inca are depicted wearing Spanish clothing, but with Inca gold adornments. Are captioned with Spanish names prefixed by Don, meaning Lord or gentleman. It is the oldest known signed and dated painting from South America, and is said to have been commissioned by a colonial officer as a gift to the King of Spain, which is Carlos Quinto. We're about to see that right now. And this is hanging in the National Museum in Pedro, Madrid. Museo Nacional del Pedro, Madrid. So with that being stated, here it is. That's part of it. That's just showing you who we are. And these people don't look like they just got off a boat in bondage. And why would you do such a glorious painting of somebody that you brought over on a boat in bondage? You wouldn't. It don't make sense. So it don't make sense. Can't even make that whole story make sense. So here's the Inca, our history. I don't know what they be teaching in school, but this is what we teach right here. So our history be like totally different story. Our history be like from the facts and not the fiction, because they'll never give you any facts with that stuff. They just do a lot of talking. So I proof that some slaves was brought over here, and then we could finish the conversation. But definitely, here's some answering to the question to further answer. So this particular panel from the painting in the Larco Museum is labeled the Inca Kings List, depicting the Inca emperors. This panel shows the last 7 Inca emperors and subsequent first European emperor of the Inca, Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, or Carlos Quinto. Charles V, that's this dude right here at the end with the little cross right there. Yes, the people who made up the cross ain't white folks, but it is so-called black folks. You could call them Moors. People have been calling them whatever they, but they're from over there, we're from over here. And there was a time in history when Atahualpa, the Inca, and Charles V went into combat. It was a big, long, drawn-out to-do that started the whole thing, and it happened prior to 1492. It happened well prior to 1492. They give the lineage of Charles V. The painting can be dated circa 1800 because the last 2 are Carlos Tierso, Charles III, as the 24th Inca Emperor, and his son Carlos Cuatro, Charles IV, House of Bourbon, as the 25th. So the whole family ain't never stopped. Charles IV reigned as King of Spain from December 14th, 1788. That's brand recent. So if the Roman Empire is dead, how come it's still around in 1788? To March 19th, 1808, abdicated in favor of his son, which is Ferdinand VII. Huh. There's some history there. And it be looking all like so-called black people. So black people didn't enslave a whole bunch of black people and brought them all over here to conquer a whole bunch of black people. That's just nonsense right there. But all of us ain't the same. We are the American period, and they are the so-called Negro de Guinea. They the people from over there. And all skin folk ain't kin folk. So there's a lot. And it was all over resources. Still is over resources. So this guy right here, being a Holy Roman Emperor, and was later called a Moor, but he's still a Holy Roman. So yeah, and the Moors still supposed to be in power, and after they was in power at this time. So how are you going to have your whole family be running Rome, which is Spain and all of that, in the same time frame as the Moors, so-called? It doesn't make sense. You can't have 2 kings. Don't make sense. It don't make sense. So there's a lot of history that's misled. Hopefully I answered that question. Did that answer the question so far? I don't want to get too far off track, but just to let you know, there was no bringing any slaves over at any point in time, as much as it was bringing forces over here to dominate us. And they look like all different kind of colors. That can be found in the writing in the Library of Congress and other law libraries, called The Conquest, or the history on the sketches of conquest of Peru, Mexico, Bogotá, Natchez, Talameco, etc., that list them coming down in the 1200s and what happened surrounding that. Absolutely, absolutely. We're here to teach. We ain't going to get it all in on one session. Absolutely not. It's too much history. I go back like well over 434,000 years, and it's going to take, and I learned it and still learning it. I haven't learned it all either. I'm still learning it, and it took me the better part of 10 years of hard study, 24/7, not eating, sleeping and stuff to really get it in. I was raised in it, but then there was a point in my life where I lost it. But anyway, that's another story, and we'll get into that if we got time. But definitely to catch us up to speed, this is the civilizations. And Carlos Quinto came down and was messing with us in the 1200s, but we don't never get this history. They want to teach everything Africa, 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 but when Africa and Europe was doing their thing over there in turmoil, they were still sending people down here. And you can study that, and people don't know of a lot of these things. So here we go. Tenochtitlan is one of those places in the early ons that was so-called conquered by these people coming in. And as you can see, Tenochtitlan and our Chinampa systems and way of growing and living, and why we built pyramids and mounds become clear, because that was a part of our society. There it is in ancient times, and here it is, Tenochtitlan modern day. You notice some differences. You notice there ain't no water, because they blocked off a lot of the dams when they was fighting us, starving us out. It used to look like this. Now it looks like this. It used to look like this, but now it looks like this. We had pyramid complexes. That was our way of life. And we have never been taught our way of life. We always been taught this other thing that ain't our way of life. This is what they call the Mississippian culture. It's all the same thing. You could look and see these same images going down in there and know this Montanus. Swinging on the ropes and the poles, doing our dances, all us around none but dog, Aborigine, indigenous folk, as depicted here. All of us, not looking like from Mexico, not looking like from Africa, just looking like how we looking right now. Looking exactly how we looking right now. Just like how we looking now. Not too different at all. And these people came down, and it's known as the fall of Tenochtitlan, in which Carlos Quintos and company. And as you can see from the images of what our people look like, we can see our dark-skinned brothers and sisters, and we can see these Europeans. We can see these Spaniards that was working for Carlos Quinto and his general black people, so-called black people with their asses too. Anyway, there's other depictions showing that. But definitely they show our people in our light and likeness. So definitely this history is little known to us and our people. It is very little known to our people. But here is the proof, facts, and evidence to back up the statements. Okay, Chief Noyamina asks, can I explain the difference between Yinka and Inca? Why they changed it? Yes, they did change it to a more modern spelling, but it sounds the same. It's pronounced Inca. Y has an I sound in our ancient vocabulary, I'm going to say. When we start reading our ancient Mayan glyphs, we get an understanding of the way things sound. And that's where Ing gets its Ing from. The Ing part of Ing comes from us, Ing, and then the Ish part comes from them. Kind of sort of like Ing. It's Ing with all kind of other languages, German and Latin and Spanish and blah, 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 that make up the English language, but it's the Ish part that gets you. But Inca is a rank. It ain't a language or anything as much as a rank. On his painting depiction, depicts it very much as a rank, as these are all Incas or kings or noble people. Is all that means. It's a rank structure like general or anything else. A rank structure, but with different meaning, definitely, but similar in that vein, but not the same as. If that makes it clear. So there's no difference between Inca and Inca. Not really. They just Europeanized the spelling is all that happened. With that being stated, American, which brings us to that. Who are the Americans? Well, for those who don't know, let's look up the definition. The definition of American in the same era, 1828, 1824, etc. Come on. Y'all see the same similarity. 1894, and my favorite. We're going to go to 1798 British Museum. Going to go to all, and then we're going to go ahead and breaks it down. So American, right? A noun, a native of America. Not that you are a Native American. I wouldn't use that term with a 10-foot pole. So definitely don't use that term. I would say it would be off limits unless you can thoroughly explain that. So I'm gonna attempt with helping people thoroughly explain it. I would still get rid of that term though until it becomes safe to use it. I wouldn't even use it because I don't like the term native any damn way. But anyway, Native of America originally applied to the Aboriginals, meaning the people from our ancestors. If I be like, who you from? Man, I'm from the original. Right, you not the original because you didn't self-create yourself. But you are from your mother who's from the original, all the way from us. We're similar to the source, but we ain't the source individually. Only collectively can we be the source. So we're from the source right now. That's where we at with it. Or to clarify who the Aborigine peoples are, copper-colored races. So if everybody got some pennies, I'm pretty sure everybody could find a penny that matched their skin tone. Would I be lying in that, or would I be correct in that? Let's hear what everybody got to say. If you put a penny on the back of your hand, and, as you should, and you put something black on the back of your hand, would you be more the color of the penny or more the color of that black object? Let's hear some answers. Come on, y'all. Y'all been quiet, man. Well, come on. Let's not all be quiet. Remember, this is going live stream too, so everybody gonna be like, man, everybody's scared to speak up. What's up? Don't be scared now. Would we be black or would be the color of pennies is the question.
Would be the color of pennies.
Thank you. Oh my
That's
goodness.
definitely.
The color of
Sorry,
pennies.
definitely the color of the.
last night and let her do it, and her response was kind of like that epiphany moment where like, oh wow.
The lights came on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So definitely pennies. So the definition of an American is copper-colored Aboriginal peoples. But let's say we're not satisfied with that. Let's say for some reason you're not satisfied with that joint right there. Okay, we got some backup for you. No worries, no sweat. Let's proof that. Let's proof it. So we're gonna blow this up a little bit. I ain't want to ruin it for everybody, but I think I might have ruined it a little bit. But we still gonna chew through it. Boom. Somebody read this. Let's read this. Let's read this whole description right here. It's an emblem of America. We at the British Museum online collections, collection online, an emblem of America. Its object type is a print. I'll kick it off and somebody can finish it up. Museum numbers 2010 7081.586. Title, it's an object entitled An Emblem of America. The description, allegorical figure shown full length, standing to left, head tilted to right, wearing a leopard skin fringed gown, plumed headdress, quiver and beads, holding a bow in one hand, arrow in the other, landscape with firs, mountains, waterfall, river in the background, in an oval frame, 1801, hand color mezzotint with etching. Producer name, published by Haynes and Sons. School and style of the artwork is the British style. But what is the ethnic name and what date was it painted? What's the ethnic name, people? Somebody give me the ethnic name. What is this that we're about to see? What is it called? What's the ethnic name?
Representation of American peoples.
Boom.
1798.
1798. Right? Published in
Indeed.
London.
Yes.
London, right?
Before I go in the gym, I'm not waiting.
No, I'm doing some. I can't do it right now. I'm doing
You
some.
gotta love that. You could mute that. We already did that. But still, it's cool. It's hilarious. You gotta love it. So, representation of the American peoples, right? And then we scroll over. Dun, 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 dun. It says an emblem of America. We're going to go to the large super image so we can get it all in detail. An emblem of America. And look at it. Oh, my gosh. Look at that. Look at that. Does she look like a Native American? Yes or no, people?
Beautiful.
Does she look like a Native American? I want to answer to that
Not what
question.
I'm saying.
Does she look like a slave from Africa? Yes or no?
Yeah.
No, most definitely not.
And would it make sense to bring a slave over here in the most horrible conditions from Africa to make them till the land in America and label them an emblem of America? Would that make sense?
No, and she have on sandals.
Right? I call those the American sandals.
Yeah, that's them Hercules sandals I used to have.
Right. Right. Hercules stole it from us. We ain't stole it.
Yeah.
Hercules got on the American sandals. I don't know what y'all talking about. He's like, I likes that. They, they coach a vultures.
Yes.
That's what they do.
Of course.
Ashley Libra says she looks like royalty. Absolutely. So we ain't come over here from no daggone Africa because it don't make sense in 1798 when they said we was all slaves, and this image that's hanging in the British Museum and the fact that we was running our own towns and cities all the way up to the 18 and 1900s, but we didn't get taught that history at all. It's in the history that we do get taught back then is all garbage anyway and whitewashed, but here it is, an emblem of America.
And we always represent them feathers.
Absolutely. So no matter what, here we are. There's much more to back that up. So we got the Inca Kings list showing us. We got the emblem of America. One thing you notice, America is always represented by a woman. Always. Always. Look at the Incas.
Women.
Women. Look at the depiction. Even the Statue of Liberty is a woman, isn't it? They got the new silver coin or gold coin, the American gold coin. You seen that? With the sister on the front. Y'all see that one?
Hello?
Yeah. Check one, check two. We got you. Can y'all hear?
No, I never seen that one, Cody.
Yeah, but I'll do it. No, I will tell you. I'll tell you when to do it. I'll tell you when to send it. I will tell you when to send it to me. I'm not ready now. I'm going to do it.
Someone needs to mute.
Yep.
It's open all night, dude.
Let's see.
Can you mute him, Cody?
Got it. Feel free to unmute yourself, though. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, the America gold coin, I want to say it's 2020, 2012 maybe. It's the new gold eagle or 2020 gold eagle. Well, there's one with the brother on it, but there's another one with a
Unmuted.
and it's tight. So there's the peace. What's good? Go. Okay, we got Chief Holiday in the building. We got who else? Chief Holiday. Michael George. And now Michael George. Right. Mikael Bryan in the build. Bryant or Brian? Bryant. Bryant, right? Mikael Bryant. What's good, everybody? What's good, people? Feel free to chime in, express your opinions, your comments at any time. And feel free. Okay, good. What's your questions? We got these questions. Okay. Oh, that's great. Ah, those are some great questions. Okay. Well, let's get into it. So we had two questions earlier, apparently, concerning the census, and I agree that's great to get back on that topic. So here we go. The census, for the first time, is going to start asking so-called black people where they come from. What's their origin, right? So, not the Indian census. I didn't want to see that. 2020. Let's see. I thought I had it bookmarked, but maybe I don't. Let's see. So, about origin.
How's everybody again? I don't know. I got cut off some kind of way.
Oh, we good. We good. We good.
Muted.
Went into the 2020 census as blacks about origin or something like that. So, we're going to get into it. This is another breakdown that we ain't African Americans and all that other shit. Right? So 2020 census will ask black people about their exact origins. So this is colonization, coming back to colonization. This is still that plan in action. I hope you guys are seeing that now. It never stopped. The American colonization never ended. It's still going because they just prepping the mindset. So in 2020, they're going to get it on paper from your own mouth that you purport to come from this Africa place. That's called genocide. For the 2020 Census Bureau, is changing how we'll ask black people to designate their race. Under the check box for black or African American, so it don't matter which one you consider yourself, it's all lumped into the same category. The Bureau is adding new space on the census questionnaire for participants to write their non-Hispanic origins according to the memo from the head of the census. So
Unmuted. Muted.
yes, I am reading from, I'm going to put this in the chat. This is from National Public Radio Inc. WNPR, but then I'm reading from, about to go to a more credible source, but I'm putting this one in the chat box. For those of you who want to chime in online and get involved actively in the chat, if you have internet connection, freeconferencecall.com, indigenous_Americans with an S, plural, indigenous_Americans is the online ID. So go to freeconferencecall.com, go to
Unmuted.
insert online ID, indigenous_Americans. Log on, hit join, click on the little phone icon, and it will take control of your mic and speakers and stuff, and you'll be able to chime in real time and get access to all kind of stuff. And or you can download the app on your phone, iPad for free from the Google Play Store or the App Store. As well as don't forget to download also tribeup.app. Tribeup.app, a great alternative to Facebook to bring our online community together, all about us Aboriginal American Indigenous people. Tribeup.app. And the link is in the description box. So also the link is in the description box.
Muted.
Online situation as well, but definitely you could do that. So I just placed in the chat, on the free conference call chat, not to be confused with the YouTube chat, I guess, and if you want to, Todd Data, if you want to take this and repost it, so they could get it as well, if that's cool, and then they could copy and paste it and check it out. So from there, I'm going to the 2020 census questionnaire itself, the memo itself, and this memo is from the United States Department of Commerce. Now, you got to ask yourself, why is the United States Department of Commerce, I'm going to get the original document, why is the United States Department of Commerce worrying about what race you are? See, this whole thing is commercial because race is a commercial construct. They control this whole construct called race. So as soon as you put yourself in a race is a game, and there can only be one winner in a race. Correct? Just saying. And this comes from the United States Department of Commerce, and I'm reading it right from their site. What says Economics and Statistics Administration, U.S. Census Bureau, Washington, D.C. 20233-0001. 2020 Census Program Memorandum Series 2018.02. The date this was issued was January 26, 2018, so this is recent because this is only February 10th, right? 2019. So it's very recent. Memorandum for the record. Okay, I'm getting some feedback, so I'm gonna have to mute somebody real quick. So Kahoot, I'm gonna have to mute you up a little bit. Okay, appreciate you. Just getting a little feedback. But if you got anything to add, comment, feel free to jump in. Definitely everybody is on that. So to get with the 2020 census issue or question, this is from Albert E. What's that? Fontenot Jr., January 26, 2018, Associate Director for Decennial Census Program. Subject: using two separate questions for race and ethnicity in 2018 end-to-end census test in 2020 census. Right? Burton Reese, Chief Decennial Communications and Stakeholder Relations. Stakeholder meaning they got other people, stakeholders. That's called corporation commerce. They're stakeholders in you being chattel property.
Unmuted.
We're going to answer all questions. Once. Well, you don't want one for yourself. The Department of Commerce is to make you a slave. Do you want to put other people in slavery is the question to you. Good. We don't deal with Department of Commerce because commerce is slavery. I want everybody to say commerce is slavery. I mean, you might not understand it as you're saying it, but as I'm going through it, you will get it.
Commerce is slavery.
Commerce is slavery because you don't make the print. You don't own the printing press, do you? Thank you. And let's realize that IOUs aren't the same as money, is it? And the Federal Reserve note is nothing more than an IOU, isn't it? And is it polite to give out IOUs instead of actual payment and not actually paying people? That's called slavery. If I work for you and at the end of the week, all you give me is a bunch of IOUs, I just still work for you for free, didn't I? Good. Since all Federal Reserve notes and all currency is an IOU, well, what do you call working for free? I'm sorry, what do you call paying to work? Because they got this thing called interest and taxes. So now you giving them IOUs in order to work. What part of the game is that? Explain. Do you want a Department of Commerce to deal with shit like that? That's some unlawful shit if you ask me. I don't know. What do you think? What do y'all think?
Just
is that morally correct?
Slavery.
Thank you. Yep. Glamour. I'm glad you brought up glamour. I'm glad you brought that up. They do make it look glamorous. Thank you for bringing up, man. Oh, man, you got to love glamour, meaning Scottish magic enchantment, right? But check this out. I ain't done yet. Variant Scottish grammar, magic enchantment spelled, which is an alteration of English grammar. And everybody went to grammar school, didn't y'all? Okay, you talking about you speaking grammar right now. They just told you a lie. I said everything come out of our mouths are spells. And we have the power to manipulate matter with the usage of words, so they control our thinking. They tell us what words to say. We say them and not knowing the power that we're putting in the universe, which is chaos. So you don't want a Department of Commerce anything. They are stealing from us. Ashley Ibra said they're stealing from us. Absolutely. They're taking us to use us against ourselves. So you don't never want shit that pertains to them, ever. If you want a Department of Commerce, go to England and get your Department of Commerce on. But in America, we don't appreciate commerce. It's been forced on us. That's what's being forced on us right now, because to participate in commerce, you got to give up your very soul in order to do it. That's called slavery, and you're never getting anything of benefit in commerce. What part of commerce is an IOU? And how does IOU and debt benefit one? Is debt beneficial to anyone? Yes or no? Is debt?
No, never.
Good. Everybody said yes or everybody said no? Are we in agreement, disagreement? No, there's no payment. If all currency...
There's no payment.
We have no money. There's no gold and silver. It's a lie.
It's all wordplay. Right, it's all enchantment through the words. Right, you got it. It's the look or the appearance of illusion charm, but it's really not. It's the illusions of the world that will pass away. It gives men and women objects that are pleasing to the eye, sensual to the touch, and extravagant to the taste. But when you get down to the meat of it, it offers you diabetes. It causes you back problems. It causes you to your glands to go out. It causes you to get messed up in the long run. It causes your health to fail.
Once
Of
we
course,
once
full
we
of bitterness.
once we get involved in commerce, this is Kahoot. It brings about a degree of stress, distrust, and it breaks up the family because within the family, people begin to look at commerce as a form of success.
Mm.
And as people go out in search of commerce to be successful, a lot of times it's not in a collective type of thinking. It's in a very selfish type of thinking.
That's
So that we all wind up outdoing each other, but we never come together to do commerce together because the illusion is you got to make it on your own. As you make it on your own, the only way you can have
Muted.
status or any type of accolades for your achievements is to have somebody with less than you. So we look at our families with less than us, and that helps to glamorize what we have, but we won't share it with our family. We just use it against them, and then that paints the illusion of everybody following everybody.
Beautiful.
And we all
Yeah,
just start
absolutely.
separating from each other in search of commerce
That's
when we
good.
already got everything we need within ourselves.
That's
Unmuted.
beautiful.
Right?
Forced
So
assimilation. They
so the
forcing us
glamour
to.
is definitely working. Not, I mean, we're the one creating it, even though we don't know realize we're creating it. Every time you say nice to somebody, it puts that in the air, and everybody go acting dumb and stupid. That's real shit. Whether you realize it or not is irrelevant to what is actually happening. So you just gotta stop. That's why I be stopping people like in their breaks. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to the environment. Just keep that to yourself. And unless it truly applies to somebody, there are a lot of nice people in the world, a lot of nice Christians in the world, meaning stupid-minded, foolish, deformed idiots. Because a Christian is a deformed idiot that is found in the Alps. It's not a religion, but as much as it is an actual person. The Caucasians, which is that deformity of non-melanin. So shit, they break it down. The dictionary break it down. Etymology breaks shit down. But anyway, that's the glamour or the grammar of it. So they and look, grammar, specialized use of that word's medieval sense of any sort of scholarship, because our people were so enlightened they thought we was using magic on their ass. They thought our science was magic. That's like the equivalent of you any going sort back of in the Stone Age with a cell phone. You understand what I'm saying? And a tablet and cameras and shit, and drones and whatnot. And you coming down in this hovercraft and shit. And they looking at you like, whoa, where you come from? Or pop out the water in the submarine. That fucking head's up right there. You screwing some minds up with that. But it means, yeah.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Absolutely. Simulcast both on Free Conference Call and YouTube. tribeup.app. American Aborigine, Essential American Aborigine Studies. We getting into it. So the glamour of the thing is what keeps us apart. And I'm glad, which leads us into another term that we take for granted. Family. Or flamily, as I put it. Flamily. Not flamily, but family. Let's read what family is. Oh, go ahead, Ty Data. What is family? Let's read family. Let's see if we have family, or let's see if we are something else. Let's see if we have family.
I just logged on to the chat. It was working fine on my computer. It's a little delay compared
But
to
you can't.
the conference call
Testing.
audio, but I could hear it.
I'm able to hear here.
Okay, yeah, you can hear me, but I'm just making sure the people in the chat. Early 15th
Oh,
century,
okay.
servant of household, from Latin family. Family, servant, domestic. Let me see. Hold on one second. Let me get over here. collective of servant in a household. So basically, like a servant.
Nope. Nope. Keep reading.
Oh,
You know what
thus
a
also
servant is,
member
bro.
of a household.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, also member of the household, the establishment, property of household, including relatives and servant, abstracted, none from form formed from famulus, servant, slave,
There
us.
you go.
Yeah,
There you
slave.
go.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
which is an
Family
unknown
means servant,
origins.
as in yes. Family means servant as the sense of slave. See, it's wordplay, glamour.
Right.
And we always say family, but you ain't got no family. But by saying family, you become a slave to this damn system.
Damn.
Yeah, damn indeed, man. We gotta watch our mouth. We got powerful weapons called these spells and these words that our ancestors created to do a specific task. And that's like giving a child a minigun and that be like, here's unlimited bullets, here's the button that you press, have fun. Like,
Right.
nah, you don't do that. You don't
Right.
give a little baby the minigun, the keys to the minigun, turn it on, and hold 30 square blocks decimated because the baby having fun and don't realize what the baby doing, just having a blast. Bang, 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 bang. Stuff blowing up. It's like video game time
Yeah,
until it's time to eat.
that's one of the
Until it's
words.
time to eat.
That's
Right.
one of the words. Copper Empress Hopert. She be getting on us about that, and I'm still trying to get that out of my vocabulary. I use it a lot.
That's what I'm talking about,
I'm
Empress.
still
Well,
trying.
don't
So
try. Try is another thing
so
you got to
she
do away with. We
well,
just got to
cause
do away with these terms.
yeah, she's real hardcore on that. Peace, the seeker of truth in the building as well.
Peace, seeker,
Jumped
truth in the building.
Peace, peace, peace. I'm gonna go ahead and
Peace
cut
and
my
love,
mic
peace and
off.
love, peace and love, lineage. So family is not what we looking for. That doesn't describe our loved ones, does it? Is your child a servant in a household? Yes or no? Are you and your family domestic? Yes or no? Because you domesticate animals. That's what you do, domesticate. But are you a domestic? Mm-mm. Are you a family of servants? Maybe you're a family of servants. Or are you the estate and or are you property? Are you that? Are you a member of a household? Because you know the IRS used the same term. Head of household, members of household. Are you a member of a household? No, you ain't. Stop it. Are you a slave? Because members of a
No.
household, estate, and property means the same thing. No, you're not taking it verbatim. You're taking it per verb. That's your imagination at work. The verbatim meaning members of a household is the same as an estate or property. You just didn't never look up the phrase called members of household to get that information. So verbatim, a member of a household is a slave. So are you property was the question. Good. So you cannot be member of household if you are not property. Only if you're property can you be member of household, because member of household pertains only to property. Period. Including relatives, including this. No, you don't own. So kids are goats. Do you have goats? First of all, do you have this stuff? Do you have goats? And two, does anybody have the authority to own another human spirit?
Hell no.
So, do you own another? So, can we own? Can you own another human spirit, or are we here just to guide another spirit?
Guide is best.
Is our job to own or to guide? Which one is it? Is it to
Guide.
teach or to
Guide.
control? You can't own nothing. You don't own nothing outside your skin. Does your mom own you? Let's ask that question. Does your mother own you? No, she don't. She absolutely. It doesn't matter what people think. It matters reality. That's where the problem is. When one person think they own somebody and the other person be like, hell no, you don't. That's where the problem begins. That's called colonization mindset. It is foolish to think you own life that you don't create. Huh? And who creates the spirit? Huh? Yeah, the woman might create the body, the man might help in creating the body, but who creates the spirit? Where the spirit come? Where your independent thought and your intellect come from? Absolutely. So you don't belong to your mom and daddy, nobody. You belong to the universe. And then the universe is you, so I guess you belong to yourself. So wrap that around for size. That sounds good. You own yourself, which brings us to full circle on Earth. So above, so below. You own yourself on Earth. You own yourself in the cosmos. No God is or spirit is greater than any other God or spirit because we all part of the same spirit. No one part is greater than the whole of the parts. Can you dig it?
Seafood, that go back to when you was talking earlier before we started. You was speaking about who God was, doesn't it?
Yeah, the woman, because you created all the life on the planet
You was
and the
saying
planet,
yourself.
cosmos.
When you got to saying when people looking for God, but it's themselves. Remember
Absolutely.
earlier? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. We are the us as we've been looking for all this time. It's kind of redundant to be like praise myself, praise myself, praise myself. That's a little bit redundant and self-serving, ain't it? I guess we gotta do something, but definitely family. So family is what that is, and this is what we have. So family is family, but let's see if this brings it home. All right, Ty Data, go ahead, brother. Let's read what lineage means. Let's see if that's more what we're looking for. Copy that. Lineage. So let's see if lineage and family is the same thing. Then we'll get back on the census and how
Testing.
they are attempting to destroy our lineage.
Testing. Can y'all hear me? Late 17th century. Oh, wait. Hold on one second. From
Mm-hmm.
Middle English lineage, line of descent,
Mm-hmm.
an ancestor,
Mm-hmm.
13th century from
Yeah,
old French.
13th century.
Yeah, from old French lineage descent, abstracted race, from lineage line, from Latin linea, line of descent, lineage, string, line, thread, C line. Uh, so basically a line.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Unbroken.
pretty. Oh,
Basically,
okay. Oh,
unbroken line from its source to where it's at,
the
wherever it's
word
at now.
arbitrary and spared and pronunciation of early modern English. Hold on one second. Uh, give me one second. My
Mm-hmm.
early modern English. Approach. Approach it. Let
Apparently,
me.
apparently, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah,
Apparently.
yeah. Hold on one second. Hold up. Here we go. Apparently, by some combined influences of line and lineage.
Cool. So, a
So,
line of descent or an ancestor, and we all come from an ancestor, don't we?
right.
We all come from our mothers, who came from their mothers, who came from their mothers. Correct?
Hold on one second. One second. Let me see. Okay, there we go. Okay.
Right. We all came from our mothers, who came from their mothers, who came from their mothers. Not to mention, we all got an umbilical cord. We all have evidence of that umbilical cord called a belly button as proof that we came from our mothers. Only the woman creates the placenta or the life raft that the baby is connected to so that life form can live. Because without that life raft, ain't no child can ever come into the world. The woman also provides the egg. She also has XX chromosome. And we all come into the world 3 months into life as a female. And then somewhere in that cycle, she do some meditation, and one of the legs break off of one of the chromosomes, resulting in a Y shape. Now we have the male, which is XY chromosome. The female can transmit the mitochondrial DNA. The male cannot. But all males have mitochondrial DNA that they can't pass on. So the male can never make life, but the woman can make all of us, and to include herself. So that's the lineage or line, the unbroken line that can never be broken. But they got us to break that line by calling ourselves Negro, colored, mulatto, etc. That's called genocide. And who did that? Who's responsible for that? Who's responsible for the start of calling us all of these names and constructs? But before that, let me finish the name and construct. on this
offer and
memorandum.
like a
So to finish that, it is a construct. Can anybody read this? The OMB categories and definitions. Anybody want to read that? Who we got online? We got Quayne online. We got Dimitri Jackson. We got Ashley Bruh. We got Arthurine, Chief Noyamina, Dorier, Quayne, JD Hill, J Freeway. We got
J Freeway. All
you want
federal
us to start?
all federal statistical agencies, including the Census Bureau, must adhere to the 1997
You might have to
Office of
speak up a little bit, bruh.
Hold on 1 second. Let me put my
Office of Management and Budget. OMB.
actually read because I got my daughter listening to it, and if I plug this in, she won't be able to hear.
Do you think we got you now? We got you. That's good right there. Wherever you at with it.
Management. I just.
Go ahead, Jay. You good?
Okay, management and budget, OMB revisions to the standard for the classification of data on race and ethnicity. The OMB standards specify 5 minimum categories for data on race, American Indian or Alaska Native, Asian, Black or African American, Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, and white, and 2 categories for data on ethnicity, Hispanic or Latino, and not Hispanic or Latino. The OMB standard explains the specified race, ethnicity categories are socio-political constructs and should not be interpreted as being scientific or anthropological in nature. The OMB standard.
That's a repeat.
Okay. The OMB standard explains the specified race and ethnicity categories are socio-political constructs and should not be interpreted as being scientific or anthropological in nature. The OMB standards provide the following definitions for race and ethnicity categories.
Boom. Appreciate it. So basically, not basically, what they are exactly saying, not basically, but exactly and precisely and truthfully and honestly are stating that the term of African American, Black, Asian, Alaska Native, American Indian, Latino, Hispanic, non-Latino, Hispanic, white, all of those things are socio-political constructs.
They're not
and they
real.
Are not to be. Thank you.
They're not
So
real.
Not real. Say it again, bruh.
They're not real.
Say it a couple more times.
They made that shit up. They made that shit up.
Man, come on. Absolutely. So we got a lot of people going around calling themselves made up stuff. And when you do, you come under a set of laws called common law, called statutory law, called commercial law, called whatever people want to call it. It's not jurisprudence. It's not the real law of the land. It's everything corporate. You fall into a corporate status.
Right. People usually try to
land.
Right, to justify the made up shit, people usually try to have some form of science or some form of, some little thing they can connect themselves with. But they just made that shit up, and they when people get to asking questions, they just say, oh, because you're ancestors. But anybody ancestors can be anything, and they can look like, what I'm saying, they can, you can have white people that got, ancient, or not ancient, but some melanated somewhere in their family, and can be considered.
It don't count.
Right.
They gotta have it in their DNA existing. And the problem with white folks, so-called, it ain't in their DNA existing.
Right.
Or if it don't exist in
a
your
lineage,
just
because you're African American, because you're descendant. But if you got somebody who's who great grandfather was a so-called African or indigenous, and they, interracial or whatever, and you come out white, you still fit the description, because you will be African descent, the same way they call everybody else. But the one thing I noticed, and I haven't talked about this much, but I noticed that they took everybody land away, but the African and the Asians. Everybody else had a continent. They have a house. They have a home. They have a destination. Whether it was made up, they have a destination. Everybody else got a little name. You see what I'm saying? And so this is how they take your land away. They just start by using the language, because it says they got American Indian, so they give them their land, and then they got Alaska Native. They don't give them they don't give them the land America. They just give them Alaska. Then
Right.
Asians, they give them Asian. Then when they say black, you ain't getting nothing. And then they say or
Well, you
African.
ain't black, but you ain't black. That's what I'm
Right. You
saying. You're
ain't
not
right. You
black.
ain't got no
That's the
land.
whole thing.
Right. You
Black
ain't
is nothing. But
right.
if you consider
Yeah.
yourself to be black, then that's on you that you do that, because you can see with your own two eyeballs every time you look at the back of your hand, it
Right.
ain't black.
But then
Every
but
time
then
you
Yeah.
look in the mirror, you ain't that, but that's the brainwashing.
but
You do that by yourself. They don't
yeah,
do shit.
yeah. And
You do
then
it by yourself. We gotta understand we do
you
it
got
by ourselves.
then you got
Yep.
African. Then you got African American. So now
Uh-huh.
they're giving you two lands. But what they're also doing, they're also making you a foreigner in both of them. So you go to Africa, you considered a foreigner, and you go here in America under their system, you considered a
Same thing.
foreigner. Yeah, you're a foreigner,
Absolutely.
right? And then it says Native Hawaiian. Notice they don't have a continent. They don't have a continent.
Nope.
Uh, Pacific Islander, no continent. Your land's gone. And then when they go to Hispanic and Latino, your land is gone. Like your
And look at
shit.
the white land. White ain't got
Right,
no
right.
land either.
White ain't
Where
got no
white owns
land.
it?
Right, they ain't got no land either.
Okay.
But then
Hey,
Hispanic
quick question.
and Latino, they land's gone. So this how they stole it. This
Well,
what
this ain't how they stole. This
well,
how they stole ours. They know it's
well,
constructs
well, I'm talking about
under
the social. That's how they winning.
construct. Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah,
This how
yeah.
they
It's a
winning the
social
social
construct.
construct is because they
There's no
able to take.
land mass,
Right. And
no lineage.
most people from South America, they call themselves Latinos, and they don't understand. You just gave a land away. You just
Well,
Yep.
it ain't their land. So a Latino is from Latin
right.
speaking people, and Hispania is
Not a land.
Spain. So the
Yep.
Latino Hispanics are invaders. They ain't from America. Let's kick their ass
Hey,
back to
Coach.
Spain. Let's keep it real.
Coach, can I get
Yeah,
one question real quick?
But I'm out.
go for it.
I was yeah. So I was talking to my sister yesterday, and she was telling me how she went to Australia and how they have free land out there, and they have basically everything that's the rights to Aborigines, but they classify it as that. So I was wondering, in their history, did they get their land changed, or how is their situation any similar to our situation here, even though it's Australia?
Yep, same situation. The colonized came to Australia, the so-called Africans, because remember, Africa wasn't even called Africa. Spain wasn't called Spain. None of these countries were actually called what we calling them today. And this ain't that long ago. We ain't talking no ancient names. We talking as recent as like 1883 and shit. That ain't too far from 1900.
So what can we do that they did to get back? Cause did they get back pretty much their land back now, or what?
Yeah, they still fighting in some areas, but yeah, just like in Africa, they are so-called. Just like out there with the farmers out thing in Australia, or the same thing in Australia, they was doing it first. Some freedoms and shit like that, yeah. As far as them not having to pay to live on their own land and not have to worry about the popos running up on them and slamming them to the ground,
So the difference
running
with
up in their shit, yeah, they defeated that.
we know that
But
they
they don't want to live
Aborigines
a
that
lavish
we don't
lifestyle.
know.
And they
I
know.
said like the difference.
Well, we don't know.
That's the
They
difference.
always knew. They never not knew. They attempted that to call them from Africa. They attempted that. They did attempt that, but it just didn't work because you had a lot of them still in the outback.